Welcome back, everybody. Season 30 for Diablo 3 is about to hit. That's right, it's dropping today, January 12th at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Today, we're going to cover everything you need to know about Season 30 and what to expect. It is the first season that's actually going to be doing the theme rotation. So, let's get into it. Hey, everybody, I'm Latimer. So, Season 30, The Lords of Hell, is dropping today, January 12th at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Season 30 is actually the first season to use the new theme rotation. Season 29 was the last season where they are going to create new content. The seasons going forward are going to be kind of mix and match. Now, Season 30, The Lords of Hell, is actually bringing a couple of things into it and adding some permanent features, including the Rites of Sanctuary and Visions of Enmity themes. These were something that was really well received by players, and we're going to talk about those today. And also, everything you can expect in the season going forward. So the season theme, like I said, is going to be the Lords of Hell. Now, what this is that players can basically embrace evil by infusing themselves with the essences of the Hell's Lords using soul shards. Now, these can drop anywhere in Sanctuary, but soul shards do have a higher chance from dropping from bosses. Soul shards can't be traded, but they can be salvaged. Okay. You may only equip one primeval soul shard and one lesser evil soul shard. So there are 7 in total, and there's going to be one of 3 primeval soul shards that can be equipped into a helm, and then one of 4 lesser evil soul shards that can be equipped into weapons. Each soul shard has a different power, and they can be upgraded 3 times using the new exclusive to the season, the Hellforge Ember. None of this is going to transfer to your non-seasonal character, and you must have a seasonal character in order to use these. Now, we're going to go over the gems. So, as we were talking about, the season powers are going to be based off of soul shards, okay? And so, there's going to be 7 shards in total, and 3 of them are primeval shards. So, that's what we're going to talk about right now. The first one is going to be the Sliver of Terror. Now, what this one does is going to give you the base power of your cooldowns are increased by 25%. But for every skill that's on cooldown, you will take 12.5% reduced damage and deal 12.5% increased damage. And additional powers associated with this is going to be your attack speed and critical hit chance are increased by 5% for each skill on cooldown. You cast a devastating ring of fire after killing 100 enemies. And if 3 or more skills are on cooldown, your lightning and fire skills damage is increased by 50%. Okay, so that's the first one. The second one is the Shard of Hatred. And the base power for this is you deal 15% reduced damage while you have 3 or fewer enemies within 25 yards. If more than 3 enemies are within the same distance, you deal 5% increased damage per enemy up to a maximum of 50%. Additional powers include killing an elite enemy pulls all enemies within 40 yards to where the elite died. Your movement speed is increased by 50%. Each enemy within 25 yards reduces your movement speed by 10% up to 70%. Now, last, you now deal 15% and 15%, 10% increased damage for every enemy instead of 5% to a maximum of 100%. Okay. The last one is the Fragment of Destruction. The base power, you move unhindered through enemies. Each enemy you pass through receives a mark of destruction for 7 seconds. Each marked enemy that dies removes 1 second from one of your skills on cooldown. If the mark of destruction expires before the enemy die, you lose 2% of your maximum health as damage. Marks are not applied if you are below 35% health. Additional powers included are you have 25% chance to restore 5% health, and when an enemy dies with mark of destruction active. Chance to restore 5% health when an enemy dies with mark of destruction. Also, when you apply mark of destruction to an enemy, you increase your movement speed by 5% for 7 seconds, maximum of 10 stacks. So, maximum of 50%. Now, last, you leave a trail of fire in your wake that slays enemies with the mark of destruction and are below 10% health. So, these are the primeval soul shards. These are the ones that you can slot into a helm. Going on to the weapons next. So, the lesser evil soul shards are the shards that can be slotted into weapons. Okay, there are 4 of these available. The first one is going to be the Stain of Sin, and the base power is you deal 25% less damage. When you kill 50 enemies, you spawn a pool of blood that increases the damage done to elite enemies by 150%, and this lasts 15 seconds. Additional powers will be the pool of blood now negates elite affixes within this area. You gain an additional rift or progress orb when you kill an elite pack, and the pool of blood now collects the rift or progress orbs. The next one is the Dreg of Lies. Base power is you deal 25% less damage, but your pets deal 25% increased damage. Additional powers: killing an elite enemy reduces all of your active cooldowns by 5 seconds. On receiving fatal damage, you spawn a shadow that prevents your death, restores your health to 35%, and grants plus 225 all resist to all party members while it is active. The shadow only lasts 15 seconds though. Each time your pet hits an enemy, your damage is increased by 0.5% for 5 seconds. This stacks up to 100 times. When you reach 100 stacks, the stacks quickly reset to 0. Next is the Remnant of Pain. The base power: your critical hit chance is reduced by 15%. Attacks against the incapacitated enemies are automatically critical hits. Additional powers include hitting enemies with cold damage has a 50% chance to freeze them. Cold damage is increased to frozen targets by 20%. Excuse me. Gain passability while your movement speed bonus is over 50%. When you move through enemies, you knock them back and stun them for 2 seconds. When you critically hit an enemy, you increase the attack speed to all players by 5% for 5 seconds with a maximum of 10 stacks. Last is the Essence of Anguish. Every time you deal poison damage to an enemy, you increase your cooldown reduction and movement speed by 2.5%, while your damage received is increased by 5% for 10 seconds, maximum of 10 stacks. Additional powers: your movement speed and cooldown reduction can be increased up to 15 times by dealing poison to an enemy. Okay? Now, when you deal poison damage to an enemy, they receive 50% increased poison damage from all sources for 10 seconds. Killing an enemy deals the damage done by the death blow to all enemies within 25 yards. Okay, so those are the 4 lesser evil soul shards. Next, we're going to cover up the new permanent features, the Rites of Sanctuary and the Visions of Enmity. All right, so the new permanent features, like I said, are going to be the Rites of Sanctuary and Visions of Enmity. These are back because players really enjoyed these. Now, the Visions of Enmity, this is really easy to explain to everybody. It's going to be a portal that spawns after killing so many mobs, which you enter this portal, and there's going to be a ton of mobs to kill with a whole bunch of drops. Great way to farm loot. Excellent way to farm loot, so always farm these up if you can. Now, the Rites of Sanctuary, however, this is a little bit more interesting. It's a kind of a buff system for your character, okay? So you're going to get basically like a talent tree, and you got to unlock these buffs as you go by doing certain things or handing in certain things or whatever the case may be. Each one is going to give you a certain ability or benefit. So there has been some changes to it, and we're going to cover those changes right now. And this will give you an idea of what's actually included on that talent tree or buff tree, I guess you could say. So first one is Force. The damage has been increased or decreased from 200 down to 100. Shadow, decreased missile damage reduction from 5% or down to 5% from 25%. Exodus, decreased movement speed uncapped to 10% from 25%. Command, increased damage against elite reduced down to 5% from 15%. Basically, in case you're noticing, there's a trend to this. Most of this is being kind of nerfed down a bit because of the fact to leave this as a permanent feature in its original state would be just way overpowered. So the next one is Tenacity. Increased damage reduced is to 5% from 20%. Next is reduces damage taken from elites. It's down to 5%. Is going to from 25%. Numb is decreased melee damage down to 5% from 25%. Next is Nature. Highest elemental skill damage bonus is increased by 5%, previously 10%. Prowess is increased damage against elites, reduced at 5% from 20%. Roar damage done to bosses increased to 5%. 5% from 50%. Elegance, the chance to dodge increased by 5%, previously 15%. Malice is decreased to 5% damage from 30% damage. Father Power Pylon has been removed from random shrine effect. And Mother Triangle Love Circles now increase damage by 50%, previously 100%. All right. There is a little note here. By the way, I'm going to leave this link down below so you guys can check this out as well. Empowered Shrine has been removed from the random shrine effect Father Seal from the Altar of Rites as well. There's a developer note here, though. In pursuit of all Diablo 3 systems to feel both fun and challenging, the Altar of Rites adjustments were made to maintain a sense of progression throughout playing while not coming into conflict with other features. So it's there just to make it kind of like still have progression. Otherwise, you're just going to walk in there and just lay waste to everything, right? So these are the new features that are going to become permanent within Diablo 3, and these were highly, highly requested by a lot of players. They were a lot of fun, especially the Altar of Rites. I loved it. It was a lot of fun. Now, moving on to the rest of the season, some of this I'm not going to cover. I'm going to leave the link below for you guys, like I said, just so you can check it out for yourself. So there are going to be cosmetic rewards that you are going to be able to find or earn, and then there's going to be the season journey rewards as well. So if you've used the or if you've done a season journey before, you understand the quests and the tasks that you need to complete. Usually at the end, you kind of unlock a stash tab as well, which is great. So if you don't have any stash tabs unlocked yet, that's a great way to do so. Then you're going to have the seasonal conquest, which is going to have different things for you to do, different tasks that you got to kill or whatever the case may be on certain levels. Then you got Hedrick's gift, which is a kind of a great starting set for everybody. So basically, once you get to a certain point, you're going to get rewarded this piece, whatever the case may be. So these are the sets. So Innis is actually one of them for monks, which I'm really grateful for because I'm looking forward to Innis again. I'm a fan of the monk. The patch notes are quite extensive. There's quite a bit of changes. So, like I said, I'm going to leave this below for you guys to check it out. Make sure you check it out if there's something that you're looking for specifically. So there is quite a few changes to the classes. And otherwise than that, I will see you all tonight at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, by all means, please give it a like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification button. That way you never miss a video. And until next time, guys, keep gaming.